Hello, hello. Video request from Gypsy Hustle. So, here we go. Gypsy Hustle go. Video request. Can you please talk about your feelings on alternative media fearmongers? My friend once almost suffered a nervous breakdown a few years ago when I introduced him to Alex Jones. He became convinced in an Illuminati secret group who were going to throw poor people like him into FEMA slave camps. Do you think Alex Jones believes in the conspiracies he discusses, or is it just to sell merchandise and advertising? The recent incident in LAX airport, the suspect cited the New World Order as a motivating factor. Fear might be profitable for Alex Jones, but do you think he bears any social responsibility when people actually take him at his word? Glenn Beck also seems to follow in the Alex Jones footsteps. Also, what do you think about YouTube scam artists who manipulate and use fear propaganda for personal economic gains? Thanks. Ooh, there's an interesting one. Gypsy hustled. So, So, can you please talk about your feelings on alternative media fearmongers? The biggest alternative media fearmonger is Alex Jones. I like Alex Jones. I'm subscribed to Alex Jones because I consider him a news channel, and I'm subscribed to a bunch of news channels, including Fox News. But I don't ever watch those videos. The only news channel I watch is the Young Turks. I consider them alternative media, but they're not fearmongers. They're straight up. So, let's start with Alex Jones. You know, I like Alex Jones. I never watched his videos. Maybe the last time I was watching his videos regularly, and it was maybe for a week or two, and I don't think I even got through any of them, but it was like a year and a half ago, almost 2 years ago. A few days ago, I saw parts of one of the videos on Obamacare, because somebody wanted me to do a video on that. Actually, it was Gypsy Hustled, but I got like 4 minutes in, and I have an hour-long video, and I realized he was just rambling on, and not even talking about Obamacare, so turned it off. I like him because I know his heart's in the right place, and I know a lot of the stuff he says is true. But I think overall, I used to think he was smarter, but overall, right now, I don't think he's that smart. He uses his emotions to get people to follow him, and he's a good leader in that respect. But I mean, actually, maybe I shouldn't have said he isn't that smart. I think he's really smart, but he takes him being the #1 guy in the alternative news media makes him kind of get so far down that, you know, he's the main guy, so he goes all the way down it, and he uses all of it. He goes for everything. He'll interview just about anybody. He interviewed, his lady interviewed George4Title, who's a total scammer, and I'll talk about him later on in this video. And George4Title is one of my subscribers, and he gave me my request video a month ago talking about sleep deprivation, because he thinks I have sleep deprivation, and he comments on some of my videos, so he'll probably watch this video. But as far as Alex Jones goes, there's this movie called Slackers. It's about Austin, Texas, and it's all these conspiracy theories and weirdos in Austin, Texas. So Austin, Texas is one of the alternative cities of America, which is interesting because it's in the middle of Texas, which is one of the main state of the mainstream power mongers, super conservative people. I'm from Austin. I left there when I was 6. So I've got it, and he's about my age. Alex Jones is like 2 weeks younger than me, so, you know, we passed each other on the road, you know, as little kids, and so, you know, he's got 3 kids to support. His wife probably doesn't work. Probably he makes a ton of money, and you know, so yeah, he totally profits off that stuff. But gets people thinking, and he utilizes free speech in America, which I respect. So I think overall he's a good guy. Your friends once almost suffered a nervous breakdown a few years ago when you introduced him to Alex Jones. Yeah, Alex Jones probably does inspire a lot of fearmonger people, like George4Title and other people. I guess some other black conspiracy theory kid wants to be the next Alex Jones. Gypsy Hustle has most of Gypsy Hustle's videos are actually making fun of George4Title, and directed me to a article about him on some conspiracy theorist directory website. But yeah, Alex Jones inspires people and probably, you know, gets people to try to do crazy stuff, like inadvertently gets people to do crazy stuff like mass murder a bunch of people, thinking that, come up with some theory that they're going to go ahead and kill everybody. And a lot of people, you know, when their heart's in the right place, their minds make them go crazy, like the Black Panthers. You know, in the 60s they wanted to free equal rights for the blacks, and then they would start having violent ideas, you know. Gotta take the power back by violence and stuff like that. And so it can drive people crazy and make them kill a bunch of people thinking that everybody's going to die anyways, and I'm making a statement for everybody to follow. That's why Jim Jones and all those people killed themselves, to try to make a statement and show everybody how crazy the world was, by showing the world how crazy they are. So your friend became convinced in an Illuminati secret group who were going to throw poor people like him into FEMA slave camps. Well, that FEMA slave camp thing is real. On one of Jesse Ventura's conspiracy theorist shows, they showed Alex Jones brought him to see one of those camps, and they had like plastic coffins stacked 8 coffins high, like 400,000 of them on this FEMA camp. And that's the stuff that I think Alex Jones is really cool for, exposing that. And, you know, saying that he's not that smart, I take that back. He's not well-rounded smart, you know. He doesn't, in the same way Cenk Uygur is, you know. Cenk is super smart. I think he's the smartest guy in the world. But you know, he's not well-rounded. He's not smart about religion. And Alex Jones isn't well-rounded. He's like, what do people think in 2012? Taking that off of the Mayans, people who couldn't even keep their, you know, civilization going. But when I say really smart, you know, you have to be like well-rounded smart. But he's smart. I like him. Yeah, so people who can get freaked out easy, like, you know, schizophrenic type people or people with kind of brain processing problems, can get thrown off kilter by people like Alex Jones. But people like Alex Jones also stir up normal people out of their apathy, so that's good. Overall, Alex Jones is good. Do you think Alex Jones believes in the conspiracy he discusses, or is it just to sell merchandise and advertising? I think he believes in the ones he discusses. The ones that he delegates his workers to delve into, I think he could care less. I think he just uses it to get money, and he just justifies it by you know, the chance of it being a conspiracy theory, and to, you know, use that as something to wake people up and just to stir a debate. You know, I remember Art Bell actually admitted once that he thinks 70% of the people that they interview on Coast to Coast are full of shit. But they interview him anyway, you know? So the point is to just get people thinking about stuff. But the stuff he gets really emotional about, I think he does actually believe. And I think he's wrong about a lot of it. But I think he's right about most of it, probably. You know, like he thinks the Oklahoma bombing was a false flag. I wouldn't disbelieve that. But he thinks that Obama certificate is all bullshit. And when he did the video showing it and how it's obviously photoshopped, none of it made sense to me. His logic did not fall through with me. So even that, I think that is just him taking stuff too far, you know? Yeah, I think he does it I think a lot of it is to do it to make money, because he deliberately tries to appeal to people of both sides, the right and the left. Going after Obama and Obamacare gets all the Republicans on his side, and then going after all the right-wing stuff gets the Democrats on his side. So I think a lot of it's just for money. You know? Okay, so fear might be profitable for Alex Jones, but do you think he bears any social responsibility when people actually take him at his word? No, he does not take any social responsibility. People are adults. If we start making it easy for people to sue people, or people get in jail just for speaking their mind, you're only suppressing the freedom of speech, the First Amendment, and we can't do anything to suppress that. We don't want that to happen. We need people to be able to say what they want. You can't put blame on anybody. I wouldn't put blame on anybody for people talking trash about me. I said in a video recently, if somebody spreads some lie about me, I blame the people who believe them more than I blame the dude who spreads a lie. People have to be, that's the best way to train people to think for themselves and research for themselves, is by coming up with a bunch of examples of stupid lemming people just believing what one dude says just because he's popular. You know, there's lots of people on YouTube who are fearmongers who profit from it, and I'll talk about some of them in just a bit. Glenn Beck also seems to follow in the Alex Jones footsteps. Yeah, Glenn Beck is a total hack. He's an idiot. I don't like Glenn Beck at all. He tried to, I heard on the Young Turks and on Howard Stern with an interview with Alex Jones, where Glenn Beck tried to sabotage Alex Jones by getting him off the air and stuff. And the only reason he does that is, you know, it doesn't make sense to do that. If they agree on the same stuff, they should be buddies. But he does it because he wants to be the main Alex Jones, and he thinks Alex Jones is cutting in on his profits. And yeah, I think Glenn Beck's a total moron. I don't like him one bit. Alex Jones is 100 zillion times cooler than Glenn Beck. I like Alex Jones. As a person, I like him. So, and I'm glad Glenn Beck's off the air. They had this Onion, on the Onion channel, from the Onion newspaper. They had this funny skit where some kid got killed in a car, and they filmed everybody. Why couldn't it be Glenn Beck? Because that's when everybody was pissed off at him. Also, what do you think about YouTube scam artists who manipulate and use fear propaganda, fear porn, for personal economic gains? Oh man, those people are so entertaining. It's a bummer they always delete their videos that they get most crap for. And I think it's great that people re-upload their videos. Hopefully they're not smart enough to realize that they could get those videos taken down. It's illegal to have your picture up on YouTube or video without your permission. Because it's great case study in this stuff. There's this woman 3 years ago, around the end of 2010, who was putting up a bunch of videos, who within a very short time had like 20,000 subscribers. And I think most of those people actually believed her. You know, she was totally profiting on it. Named Colleen Thomas. And somebody did a video, I did a video about her, actually. Talking about her, talking trash about her. I deleted the video. I shouldn't have, because I just felt bad about talking trash about a crazy lady. And it didn't take long for people to realize that she really was crazy. And if you type her name, you'll see her up on YouTube, like from other people's channels, because she deleted her channel. But she's this like 50-year-old lady who claims to be in psychic communication with the Pleiadians. And then in another video, actually a video I saw this morning, where she claims to be the grandmother of all the human race. And she has really nasty energy. She reminds me of Sarah Palin. She has this vibe, like, and what I think maybe what she was all about, maybe she was straight up crazy and believed what she said, or she's just a fundamentalist Christian, doesn't believe any of the alien stuff, and just was like kind of like L. Ron Hubbard, just thought that she'd just make up her own thing and get profit off of it. But 3 years ago, YouTube had this thing where you could charge as much as you wanted for videos. They don't do that anymore. They weren't doing it for very long, but she'd be charging like 15 bucks for videos that she had, and the ones that she didn't charge, she'd get up and she'd start talking about like she was saying that like we have to stop the immigrants from coming into America, and that we have to stop child porn and porn in general. And like she would go against stuff that doesn't make any sense. She just clamps onto these talking points and stuff, you know. Like she'd go into the New Age store and see that somebody wrote a book about the Arcturians, and then the next day she'd be like, yeah, I'm part of the Arcturian Council. And but she'd go and talk a video and then get really mean and nasty and start cussing. And in one video she said that nobody should believe what anybody says on YouTube unless it's okayed by she or her friend. She had some female friend, and I never saw her first. And man, she's mean. She gets real mean. But people got onto her, caught onto her, and then she evaporated, disappeared. She's probably just some. I guess people were saying she was a housewife or something. Where she was filming the videos looked like a nice house. But when somebody said she even had a video where she stripped butt naked in the video. That's probably one of the ones she was charging for, so just doing anything for money. Okay, now another person who Gypsy Hustled is into, if you go to his channel, he's got videos. Most of his videos are about this guy his YouTube channel is called George4Title. His real name is George Heminger. He's probably going to watch this video. I don't think he'll comment on it though, and he won't do a video about me, even though he attacks people in videos. I don't think he'll fuck with me. He'll probably, and I don't even think he'll unsubscribe from me. But yeah, this guy, man, I knew who he was before because I check out with people who comment on my videos. I check out their channels, especially if they're if they have videos of themselves, and I always knew he was just always being negative and sounding like he's really serious, but only saying like nonsense fear stuff. And so I didn't watch his videos. But then last week, one of my main commenters sent me a Facebook message or posted on my channel that he was going to meet him in person, and he drove 4 hours to meet him, but he wasn't where they were supposed to meet. And when he called him a bunch of times, he never answered and just totally stood him up, so he had to drive 4 hours back. Wasted like $60 of his gas on his scooter. But yeah, this guy's really interesting. I watched some of the videos that Gypsy Hustle did and some of ones on his channel, and read the article about him on some website that talks about scammers. But I guess he'll do anything and everything. He had a video where he says he lives in a tent because he's totally broke and everybody's about to go broke. And he's in this tent, and then in another video he'll say that he makes $10,000 a month, and then I guess there was a video, I didn't see it, but he was in front of a mansion, said it was his mansion. So yeah, half the time he's totally broke living in a tent. Other half the time he's saying how he makes tons of money. And all of his livelihood's on YouTube, and he has 5 kids to support and all this stuff. I went to socialblade.com, and it says there the estimation of how much money he makes is pretty much exactly what I make. It was interesting. Which is about $10 a day. But he has another channel called George4Title too. Yeah, and then he had a video where he put a big burn on his side of his face and said he was burnt from the Fukushima nuclear plant disaster. Then went to Mexico and said he got bird flu during that, and had a video of him puking. And he does videos trying to say that, support homeless people, say he was homeless, but then there's a video where he's filming himself reporting homeless people sleeping in this big field and getting the cops to bust him. So he's the perfect example of a total 180-degree extreme hypocrite. But he seems totally serious. He uploaded a video like 5 days ago offering services to make videos for people's companies businesses to promote them. He got famous when he was sponsored by some kid who made a bunch of money pumping and dumping stocks, like trying to sell stocks to people that weren't worth anything, who were then paid by the people who had the stocks. And then he admitted that it was a scam. And this kid was the youngest kid to get indicted by the federal government for all that when he was 16, like 10 years ago. And John Hagel or something. And he talked a bunch of trash about Alex Jones. I mean, not Alex Jones, Peter Schiff, who is a stock advisor, saying that he was the criminal. And then Peter Schiff had him on his show and said, "Hey, what'd you say about this?" He's like, "Oh, and yeah, I'm sorry, I was just being stupid. I deleted the video. Whoops, my bad." And then he does videos talking trash about people, and offered to fight one guy, and yeah, he's trippy, dude. So he's probably one of these. I guess he admitted to be schizophrenic or manic depressive, so he's probably like manic depressive, schizo. Because I've met a bunch of people in real life who are totally schizophrenic. They'll tell stories with their own theories about aliens in the middle of the earth who are trying to take over the world. You know, like this one story. It was a bunch of women controlled by a woman, and all the women are agents for her. And I picked up a hitchhiker once who said he was a time traveler. And I mean, there's crazy people, and it's awesome when you have these crazy people uploading videos on YouTube, man. I fucking love it. I've got some trolls doing videos about me who are just, those videos are hilarious. I love it when they upload videos about me. They're trying to talk trash about me, but they end up making me look really fucking badass. John Doe, some other kid, I can't remember his name, and then Gluco 1. Yeah, it's just a bummer when they delete their videos. They should keep them up there, because it's great to see this stuff for real. Yeah, I mean, I think maybe these people, they're part crazy and they're part just, maybe they had a hard life growing up and they just don't care and they'll just do whatever. They think that's the world's all about. They'll just do whatever to get ahead, and they can justify it by saying it's just entertainment. Like, that's what he said to Peter Schiff, just entertainment. And there you go. George4Title was also on Alex Jones' show when one of the girls interviewed him, and he was talking about some conspiracy theory about the governor trying to take guns from people. So yeah, I think Alex Jones does a whole lot of irresponsible stuff, because I don't think that particular interview had any weight, any merit to it whatsoever. Now, the biggest fear porn people ever, and I was going to do an actual video about them separately, but I think I'll just include it in this video, is Scientology, dude. Well, I mean, the biggest, I guess, would be Christianity in general, and Muslims believing in hell, and if you're not there, part of their religion, you'll burn in hell forever. But Scientology, man, they're the worst. They are straight up hypocrites, psychos. I've been watching videos about them, interviews of people who've dropped out, and they've been dropping out in droves lately. And I mean, one thing is that these people who just do it for profit is they're total hypocrites. Thing about Scientology, story of Scientology is L. Ron Hubbard started a religion. He actually said that if you wanted to make a bunch of money, you start your own religion. That's what his great-grandson said, what he said. And so he traveled around the world when he was younger, and he found out stuff about other religions, and so he used the interesting stuff of them and created his own self-help book called Dianetics out of it. It's like the Bible of them. I want to do a Dianetics book review pretty soon, because I think I saw it on YouTube. And then he invented a really crude lie detector that he used to basically train people to brainwash other people and then control them. And this lady was on there saying that because these are people who are the very highest. They got to OT7, operating Thetan 7, the highest level, where they believe, according to the actor, this actor, I can't remember his name, that they're the only chance for the whole human race to survive, and so that's how they can justify being total dicks to everybody else, because they just, defensive to keep their group alive. So that's why they go after people. And but this woman was saying that they're trained to basically mind control people, where you have actual control over their physical bodies and tell them what they can and can't do. And the hypocritical part is that when you hear the first pitch, it's, oh yeah, we're going to teach you to be your own person, you know, operating Thetan, where you have complete control, you know how to communicate all this, and you know, it's all your decision, only you can do it. That's what I heard the leader, David Miscavige, say in his interview with Ted Koppel. But what it's all about is you don't have any control at all. These girls, they tried to escape physically, and they'd get tackled by the security guards and carried back in. They had barbed wire up there, keeping them inside the compound, and they wouldn't leave at all. They didn't have any money. They get paid 30 cents an hour. And they were sold on the idea of joining the cult, so that, and they would learn all the stuff to become a special person, where you would get to live forever and nobody else would. So you'd sign the billion-year contract. And but instead of teaching them anything, they would just put them to work, where they would just do laundry and labor and clerical work and everything. But they would charge them for it. They'd pay them 30 cents an hour, and then when they'd work for years and they wouldn't even have any classes, or they'd only start having the classes when they start complaining, then they would be tacked with a $30,000 bill. So they worked 100 hours a week, some 20 hours a day, working like slaves, and then they were getting charged for it, having to pay like 30,000 bucks at the end for that, and putting kids to work. I mean, totally taking advantage of the legal system, and breaking all the rules set in place for human rights. And they claim to be the most human, morally sound group of people on the planet. I heard David Miscavige say that you know, they do all these charitable organizations and charitable work and feeding the poor and all this stuff. But you know, it's the exact opposite. They had kids growing up within it who had lived in some farm, but the whole thing was built by them. This girl, David Miscavige's brother's daughter, his niece, was hauling rocks up when she was 7 years old to build the walls, and she had to sign, a bunch of kids had to sign the billion-year contract when they were 7. And kids who were recruited were, you know, put to work, labor at 11 and stuff. So breaking child labor laws and overworking people almost to death. There was this other guy who outed them, who was one of the highest, you know, born into it. And he's my height, 5'10", but he only weighed just barely over 100 pounds because they fed him really bad food, and they were really, you know, didn't care for their physical well-being. And the leader, David Miscavige, is a bully. He beats people up and punches them, even though he's a skinny little 5'5" guy. People who are in there say that they, you know, witness him beat people up 30 times, grab their neck and throw them on the ground and choke them, and for no reason. And what provoked this one guy to leave, the guy who only weighed 100 pounds, was David Miscavige suddenly punched him in the face 10 times, and then he was about to hit him, but he had to kicked him out. He kicked out. And then I heard, when I saw the interview with David Miscavige on the Ted Koppel, and I guess he hasn't even been seen talking. It was the only time given an interview, and he was only seen like 20 years ago once. But the way that he talked, he was talking like a gangster. You know, in the you see gangster movies, and when they talk like this, hey man, where's the dope? Where's the money? Instead of saying that, they say, hey, dat. And they're like really like forceful, and they say your name really patronizingly. He kept going, Ted, listen, you're not getting the point. It's exactly how Bill O'Reilly talks. It's this, I'm going to mow right over you. You're an idiot all the time. So he just has this one speed, just walk all over you. Which was, and that kind of personality fit perfectly right into Scientology, because because Scientology is all designed about, you know, having the one guy who, and that was L. Ron Hubbard, who knows everything, everybody else is crap. And that's another hypocritical thing. They say, oh yeah, you join us, you can be the #1, you know, advanced Thetan, the only people in the world who are you're homo novus. You're the new human being, and everybody else is like an animal. And but you get in there, and it's actually you're just crap, and they just tear you down. The whole thing is built around tearing you down, insulting you, and making you feel crazy and stupid and retarded. They have these things called, they have their own words for everything, but demerits. Well, every time you, like if you, the girl was saying there was this one kid showed up at 6:30, but it was in the morning, but it was still considered late, so he had a ice cold water poured on his head, and that's why people get beat. And L. Ron Hubbard would throw people off his boat. He had to live on a boat to run away from the government because all these different governments were after him. And when people would do him wrong, or when people would piss him off for whatever reason, not understand what he'd say, they'd have to walk the plank. And he would make people walk the plank completely with their limbs tied so they could barely swim, and basically torturing them. And so Dave Miscavige carried the tradition on by making people walk a plank into this lake, I guess, in one of their compounds. But it was a rotten lake with dead fish, and it was a cesspool, and so all these people got sick, so they had to stop doing it. But yeah, and people were sold on they'd work all the time, but they would get free medical, and then when they would need to get contacts, they'd be on a list of 200 people, and like none of that would exist. And one guy, the spokesperson, the guy in the commercial that they had in the 80s, where he's like, yeah, you want to be Scientologist, using fear, you know. In the end, he goes, yeah, you know, you could just, you could decide not to become a Scientologist after this advertisement, but you might as well jump off of a building. Or that's what one person said. Somebody else said, or you could just jump off of a building. You know, like not being a Scientologist is basically like committing suicide. That guy dropped out of Scientology. And he actually has a YouTube video of him that you can watch that I haven't heard yet, but I'm going to hear it today. Because he recorded it when he went to the main guy trying to get his money back, because that's the agreement they have before they join. And they didn't give his money back. So, hypocrites in every day. Another thing about L. Ron Hubbard is, in Scientology, is they're totally against psychology and psychiatric drugs. And because, you know, they wanted to take the people who make money off psychology. They wanted to be the new psychology, so obviously they're going to talk trash about them to get their business. And they only pay attention to the negative examples of psychology, and then so they don't want to have any. So they say any kind of drug is bad. Prozac is an evil drug. I remember a few years ago, Tom Cruise got into it with Brooke Shields because she was on an antidepressant, and he said she shouldn't. He was an idiot for taking it in, but Scientologists, whenever people try to leave, they make them get on chloral hydrate, which is a really strong, deadly drug that makes you basically makes you catatonic and suicidal, and puts you in a hypnotic state, and makes you it's a sedative, and it's what Anna Nicole Smith died from. And another Scientologist girl who tried to escape ended up going crazy because she went nuts from getting bashed down and insulted so much that they put her in this room, and she died from dehydration, and it was probably had something to do with them giving her that drug. So, I mean, total 180-degree hypocrites. It's not fucking. It's crazier than fucking fiction. Yeah, I guess people are terrified of them. I mean, I'm not really scared of talking to them to now because I'm not going to include them in the title, and I'm a nobody, you know. This video will get like less than 100 hits, but yeah, people were terrified, and that's why nobody came out, because they would sue the shit out of people. The U.S. government had to give up on them, on going after them, and refusing to give them the tax-exempt religion status, because they were suing the IRS. They outsued the IRS, the government. So that's how they have their religion tax-exempt status. So they take advantage of every law that's put in place to protect human rights. They take all of it. The free speech, they say anybody says anything about them, they'll sue the shit out of them. There's this one Scientologist, and they charge ridiculous amounts of money. They charge this one guy $300,000, and he put the money onto a credit card for some silly classes, and he realized he wasn't ever going to pay it back. And he was the guy who they used, the main guy who they used to go after this organization called Cult Watchdog, Cult Watch or something, which was a non-profit organization to try to expose cults. And so they infiltrated it, and then got him in trouble and bought him out and kept the name and just basically took it over. And so now that group is run by them completely. And it was because of his work, because I guess he was a lawyer. Anyway, that guy, after owing him $300,000 that he put on credit cards, ended up killing himself. And then they didn't give any like recompense to his wife. And his wife left, and the guy went out. Whenever you leave, they always send people out to try to scare you into not saying anything bad about him. And she was going to write a book, and the guy said, well, here's a contract you write. We're not going to write anything about us. Because I guess she was thinking about writing a book. And he said, yeah, including don't say anything about your husband. And she said, well, I can't do that. I have to talk about him. And he said, okay. He's crossed it out. He goes, nobody cares about him anyway. Who would even say anything about him? And Tom Cruise became a Scientologist. And he did it once, like a few years ago. And then he got to one level where he realized it was stupid. And so he left. And then he was gone. And then he joined again. Probably because he's an egomaniac and he wanted to be able to be like, you know, an advanced Thetan and the best. So all the people in Scientology who had been there for 30 years and grew up in it and knew more way about it than he did, had to call him sir. And people who didn't call him sir, who called him Mr. Cruz or Tom, would get like yelled at. And people would get yelled at all the time, like yelling in their face. And it's weird. So it's just this, it's totally taking advantage of all the good parts of humanity and twisting it. It's my definition of Satanism, just using all the good stuff and twisting it and using it to just do exact opposite of what all the good parts of humanity are. Yeah, that guy David Miscavige is scary, dude. I saw a picture of he and Tom Cruise on their motorbikes in their leather outfits. And David Miscavige was like this, looking right into it. He's Mr. Aggressive guy. There's a picture of him with his hands on the desk. So he's like, you know, I am advanced Thetan. I am boss of all of you. You are shit compared to me. And just scary dude, man. I knew a guy like that who had that look once, who I moved furniture for like 13 years ago. He gave me that look. He didn't give a fuck about anybody. He was just trying to take it. He just wanted to be a boss just to be the boss. I think that's what this guy's all about. Some people just want to be the bully boss, you know? And but I can see it in his eyes. So I think Tom Cruise, man, I saw the video where they gave him the first, like, you know, I can't remember what it's called, Soldier for Humanity. They like to invent all their own words. They get concepts that have been believed or already believed for thousands of years by all these other religions and then change the name and claim that they invented it. But so yeah, they give it to Tom Cruise and all these people are screaming, clapping, and Tom Cruise looks like, he just looks so dumb. Just like, hey. And the other guy's like, oh, fucking dude. And I heard that guy, David Miscavige, lives a totally lavish lifestyle. He got the nice cars and the nice mansion, all that. Sits on his ass and makes his underlings work 100 hours a week. Tom Cruise said that his job is just as hard as an Olympic athlete. Or as a soldier in Afghanistan, because Olympic athletes have to sprint only once a day, but he has to sprint 40 times. And so, yeah, man, Tom Cruise, dude, I don't even want to watch any more videos of his. I mean, he's a good actor, and I've liked his movies, but he's clearly completely not in any contact with reality whatsoever. And it's kind of it goes to show that, you know, if you're a good enough actor, you can pretend to be anything. You know, like he could get any girl he wants. They had to, when he got back into Scientology, or when he broke up with Penelope Cruz because she's a Buddhist. They interviewed hundreds of actor girls who were Scientologists, and they all wanted to be his wife, you know. So all you have to be is put on the show and have a lot of money, and that's it, man. So we should learn from this stuff, you know. That's why we should learn. That's why I stress that we should learn history. Guy George4Title, actually, he commented on one of my videos, said that my history timeline was useless and nobody cares about history and I'm wasting my time. We need to study history because we need to learn from this stuff and talk about it, you know. I mean, Scientology was not granted tax-exempt status for religion, or straight up outlawed. They couldn't even open up any offices there because they know what cults do, you know. They have that fresh memory of the Nazis. In America, we have the whole freedom of religion thing, and so boy did Scientology take advantage of that. But it's funny what's happening now is they have this, all their buildings are going completely empty. They have this giant blue building that used to be a hospital that they own, and you go into it and it's totally deserted. It's like a ghost town. And the guy who was attacked by David Miscavige, who's been in there forever, I can't remember his name, Mark Headley. I think that's his name. Maybe that's the actor. I think that's him. He said he went to different Scientology offices around the world, the different schools they have, and they're all totally empty. And they just got $150 million from a bunch of people, so they go after super rich people to give them money because they have a really good presentation. They have the whole self-help thing using the lie e-meter, and they're really aggressive. They tell you that they guarantee that you can have the eternal life and have no problems, and so I guess people go for it. Kind of like, you know, if you go to a third world country and somebody goes up to you, hey man, if you give me your bank account, I swear to God, I'll put $100,000 in there because like my friend, he's the prince of the country and he stole it from me, and yeah, you know, here I'll sell you a bunch of this jewels. It's only 10%. It's 90% off. Here, buy it, and then you find out it's plastic. You got ripped off. You know, people's greed ends up taking advantage of them. They want to be that special person who's better than everybody else who gets to live forever, because they were grown up in a world where they think everybody's going to burn in hell anyway, or they're grown up in a society where they weren't allowed to talk. There's no communication, and they don't know anything. And it's crazy how many people fall for that stuff. And the one guy, the writer-director of Crash, he said he was embarrassed to admit that he was a Scientologist because now he feels stupid. You know, I mean, I guess if the world if Christianity, you know, abused so many people and did so well, you know, in the Catholic Church, there's a lot of evil stuff about them, control stuff. They're against, you know, condoms and stuff. If they're so bad, you know, I guess it's easy to make the alternative that's even worse. So, anyways, Scientology is in free fall now because the $150 million they just got, you know, they don't have the students, and it's basically a Ponzi scheme. The people put in the money to think that they've got all the extra, they'll get all the benefits, and then they get up to some higher level and they realize that Xenu's secret, but that Xenu secret's out, so there's no secret to keep. South Park did a cartoon that you should watch, where they actually quote L. Ron Hubbard, the final lesson about Xenu and the history of the earth, word for word. Because they have L. Ron Hubbard say a sentence, and then they have South Park say the sentence with the cartoons. And yeah, L. Ron Hubbard said that the planes that Xenu, the alien, flew here to Earth from look just like DC-10s. So then in South Park they have the cartoons of DC-10 airplanes flying through space. And then they went into a volcano and seeded the souls in the volcanoes and came out. And when you hear L. Ron Hubbard say it, he's just talking like all frivolously, yes, and then the DC-10s. And he would start singing, which was really creepy. Like the first time he said it, it was kind of like he was just being like sing-songy, like he's laid back, cool guy. But then he did it over and over and it sounded really formulaic and just like he was just a creepy, crazy guy coming up with some story. And he was just winging it, man, just making it up. And so when people, I guess, get to that level, they drop out. And so there's basically nobody else to get the money from. They got the money from they milked everything. And so all they can do now is to stay functioning is to sell off their real estate, which I guess they owe a whole lot of, so they'll stay around for a while. But probably what will end up happening with them is they'll get smaller and smaller. People in the inside say that they estimate of having like maybe like less than 25,000 worldwide adherents still. But they'll probably, you know, the people, the stupid, evil, crazy people, and then the lemming people, you know, there'll be people like that for the next 100 years on the earth. They will gravitate towards Scientology. And so it'll turn into this like small cult with a website and maybe somebody's house, you know, in the outskirts of LA, and that'll be it. And they'll get to brag how they're the lineage holders of the great religion. I mean, you know, we still have neo-Nazis who have posters of Adolf Hitler up on the wall. So stuff stays around, but it's going to get smaller fast. And I guess people, the whole free game thing, they have a free game philosophy. If you said anything bad about Scientology, they can do whatever they want to you, so they can find secrets about you and expose you and spend all their money, you know, attacking you and suing you into bankruptcy and all this kind of stuff. But now they don't have the money for that anymore, so, and they have to actually hire external private eyes to do their dirty work for them, because they don't have enough people and that resources anymore. So now it's actually backfired on them. You know that quote Jesus said? I can't remember the exact quote, but you know, the sins you perpetrate on people backfires and is put right back on you. Well, now it's free game on them. All these people are just ex-Scientologists going after him, investigative reporters, regular people talking trash about him right on YouTube and not being afraid of him, because they can't defend themselves against all those people. And so it bounced right back onto him, and now they're getting it. And man, that David Miscavige guy, he doesn't look happy. Even 20 years ago when I saw the interview with Ted Koppel, you know, you look into his eyes, every picture you see, he looks like he's in agony. He's like, and that's why he attacks so many people all the time. He's just angry all the time, and just because so many people hate him. You know, if so many people hate you, you're not a happy person. Tom Cruise is probably ended up like that, not a happy person. Everybody hating him, and his career is probably going to go downhill because of it, because it's all coming out now. So yeah. It's interesting how all these people, you know, and if you know any other people, if anybody watches videos and know other people on YouTube who are like that, you should drop their name on the thing, because frickin' I love watching that stuff, man. If they're crazy enough, I'll watch a few of their videos and the video compilations of the wacky people. I'll watch that stuff. It's entertaining as hell. I mean, it's scary and it makes you sad if you actually had fallen victim to it in the past, or somebody you know has. But luckily for me, I haven't. I've been scammed out. I've been scammed by people, but by normal people, not somebody claiming to be all this, all that. There's another cult that comes to mind, Allies of Humanity. It's based right here in Boulder, and it's this alien cult, and it's this guy, I can't remember his name, older American guy who says he's the only person, obviously, that's always the thing, who can talk to the aliens, and this whole world is controlled by evil, and the whole universe is all evil aliens. We better watch out. And it's just sad and gloom and doom. And he's got a whole following, man, a whole bunch of website, and makes money and all that stuff. So it's weird. Like, if you claim to be the special guy, with the only guy with the message, and you put yourself across very professionally, then it's you get the money and you get the followers. People just love that stuff. They live the easy way out, you know. The guy who wrote and directed Crash said that the thing that brought people into Scientology, the reason people stay in there, is because they actually like being part of a group that's the outcast, oppressed group of people. Oh, woe is us. And I've heard that from fundamentalist Christians. They like to do that kind of shit, where they're like, oh shit, guys, looking. Dude, I had my fucking dick hanging out of my fucking shorts, man. I think you can see it from the road. Fucking guy's been staring at me. Oh, God. Well, at least I learned. Oh, God. Anyways, what was I saying? Yeah, man, you claim to be special. You claim to be special, and people will follow you. People love to that easy way out. They love to be the special people, who are the only people who have the knowledge, and then they get bragging about how they get suppressed. Like modern day fundamentalist Christians. Christianity, they don't even admit about all the bullshit that Christianity does. in the past, you know, like illegalizing other religions and oppressing, you know, the Salem witch trials and all that kind of stuff, burning other religions at the stake. They never mention that, but they're like, oh, us Christians persecuted by the Romans. Oh, we're getting persecuted these days. Bill O'Reilly was even saying that kind of stuff. The war against Christianity, getting persecuted. Not wanting to call it Christmas anymore, or the Christmas tree. Oh, woe is us. You know, and they're doing the exact... And Bill O'Reilly's the thug, you know? People called him a thug, and then he actually called himself a thug. Oh yeah, I'm a thug to go after the bad people. The bad people! Who talks just like fucking Davis Miscary's a gangster. Jeez, dude. So, anyways, it'd be awesome if people could kind of, you know, see the red flags, know what the red flags look like. Red flags are somebody talking like this. Hey, John, you don't get it. You know, or asking a bunch of money, playing the victim, trying to say, you know, other people are bad, you're the only good people, or you're the only person with the message. I mean, there's so many just straight up rules that are so obvious. It's, people will learn them one day, but, you know, so the people who come out, it's great to use them as examples to help the other people not fall for it. Yeah. Somebody even mentioned George4Title like a month or two ago. Somebody actually mentioned on my video, because I guess he commented on it and somebody commented to him, yeah, George, you should do an interview with him, man. He'd be a great person. So they're like, he has followers who love him. He has like 23,000 subscribers on his first channel. I don't know how many he has on his second channel, but yeah. So anyways, if anybody knows any other people like that, that'd be cool to check them out and hear their crazy shit, crazy stories. Okie dokie, peace out.